Okay, we're going to get started in just a few minutes. We're getting a lot of people respond, so I'm hoping that they'll join us as we approach the noon hour. Did I hit record already? Yes, I did. Hi. All right, we're welcoming everyone. We're just past the noon hour and anticipate a few more people will join us. If you could remember to sign in the chat with your name, organization, and email, then we'll make sure that we know how to reach you for evaluation and if you need continuing education confirmation. We are excited about today's presentation and have done some quick planning for June. Some of the June ideas have been postponed for another time. And so we're planning to look forward to conversations about co-occurring disorders in substance use and opioid use disorder. And we will be reaching out to folks for possible cases in the area of PTSD in early June, and then mid-June, we're going to be looking at anxiety disorder. And so put that in the back of your brain, and we may be reaching out to find out if you want to contribute to our next Zoom sessions. Let's go ahead and start with introductions. Today I am here, my name's Rebecca Buller. I'm the Education and Prevention Specialist at Wayside Recovery Center and your MC for the day. And with me is
Jessie Everts from Wayside as well. I'm the Senior Director of Research and Innovation.
And we want to move on to maybe Mary. Could you introduce yourself?
Unmute in that same place and say hi.
Mary, can you hear me?
Oh, she's still muted. Just a second here, Mary. I can unmute you.
Go ahead.
There I am. Okay, yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. And could you just introduce yourself to all the others on the call?
Absolutely. My name is Mary Bildso, and I am a certified peer recovery specialist, actually starting to look for work.
Well, wonderful. I think there are a lot of organizations looking for peer recovery specialists right now.
I know. I'm over on the west side of town. I'm in St. Louis Park, and a lot is in St. Paul and out of the metro area. So I look every day.
Good, good. Paul.
Paul Beck.
Natalie, I'm sorry. Natalie, would you
can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh. My name is Natalie Paulbeck. I am a guardian ad litem out of Washington County.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How about DJ Morris? Can you introduce yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank goodness. Yes, this is Deb Morrison with Homeland Security Investigations. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Deb.
Welcome.
Welcome. And A. Barnes, too. Would you introduce yourself?
You might need to unmute.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm Angelina McDowell. I'm from Fairview Hospital in the addiction clinic, or the, the IPCC clinic, integrative. I can't remember all the acronyms. But I'm
Welcome.
here.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Please put your email in the chat box so that we'll be able to follow up with you.
Okay.
And send evaluation and certificates and that sort of thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, at this time, I am going to we're going to switch over to our presenter, Emily Good, and she's going to help us learn a lot more about lawhelpmin.org. And we will be shifting the control over to her, and then we'll have time for questions when it's over. Thank you.
All right, and hopefully everybody can hear me. I'm Emily Good. I work for an office called Legal Services State Support. We are part of the broader Minnesota Legal Services Coalition, which is based, our office is based in St. Paul, but we have partner organizations that we work with who provide civil legal services all around Minnesota. So we have partner programs operating in every county around the state. And just to be clear, when I say civil legal services, our organizations are primarily focused on basically non-criminal things, although we do have programs and some of our resources deal with criminal expungement as well as eviction expungement. We are the main areas of law that we work on include family law, housing law, consumer law issues, seniors related issues. We also, one of our organizations is the Disability Law Center, which handles a variety of issues for persons with disabilities. And then the broader legal services community in Minnesota includes organizations that specialize in immigration, organizations that work with farmers, that work with small business and nonprofits. So that is kind of where we come from. I am a lawyer, but my primary work right now is helping administer and run websites and tools. And so here in our office, we just finished redesigning and updating the lawhelpmn.org website, which has been around for about 16 years. And it is a free resource for focused on Minnesotans, although when we look at our internet traffic, we get a lot of visits from people who are outside Minnesota looking for resources and information. And the goal of our site is really to help people either find legal help who are trying to get assistance with a problem. And there's sort of two main ways that we do that. One of them is through self-help materials that give people more information about a problem, give them general information, potentially help direct them towards the beginning of self-help remedies. And also we have a list of legal service providers so that people can try to find the best fit for legal help that they need. And so what I want to do is just walk you through the website, because what we did when we redesigned our website was to create a completely new channel, as we refer to it, that's called the Law Help Guide. And it sort of follows the trend that a lot of free legal services around the country are doing, which is to, instead of expecting people who come to our website to be able to really personally, specifically define their legal problem, we kind of ask a series of questions to help match them with the best fit in terms of resources and the best fit in terms of a referral to legal services. So I'll walk you through and show you how that tool works. We think it's something that hopefully is helpful either to direct potentially a client or somebody that you're working with to try to get the best resources or that may be helpful for you. A number of people in our office, if they're taking phone calls or online chats from individuals in the community who have a legal problem, are often using this themselves to try to find the right referral. So starting here, the first thing that we do is we ask people to identify whether they're helping themselves or someone else. And this just says, if they say they're helping someone else, it's going to say, please answer the questions as if you are the person with the legal problem. That is just sort of a clarifying. We do ask if people live in Minnesota or have a legal problem in Minnesota. All of our legal referrals generally have as a condition of representation that the person be a Minnesota resident or have a case in Minnesota. And so that's why we are asking about that. And then we do ask people if they have concerns about abuse, and that's just an opportunity at the outset for us to encourage people who may be in an immediately threatening situation to seek immediate help. And so for now, I'm going to say no, that I am not. So we're working on, ideally we'll get to a point where people can just type in a question. We're not there yet because of technology limitations. So we ask people to sort of pick a legal topic that best describes what they're looking for help with. And family is a topic that we see probably a third or more of the people coming to our website are looking for help with. And then we ask kind of generally, what is the topic that somebody's coming to look for help with? And so I'll just note that if someone says, I have a different family law question, we've tried to include some things here, like a family member died, and I have questions about what happens next, questions about guardianship, adoption, emancipation. These X's over here allow you to go back. I'm going to go through a custody string just because that is a topic that we see a lot of people having questions about in a variety of different settings. So, and then the person's going to get a number of different choices here as well. And again, we're asking all of these partially because they help us pinpoint what type of legal services might be available, and also because we have a number of self-help resources, and answers to these questions are going to make sure that we're giving the person kind of the best starting point. They may end up going in a different direction later, but the idea is sort of to narrow the field of options initially. And so potentially a really common question is, I want to change my custody order. Here again, we're asking about abuse and harassment, in part because that in a lot of cases our free legal service providers have special grants that allow them to serve victims of abuse. And so while it doesn't necessarily affect whether or not someone can change custody, it affects what services they might be eligible for. And then we try not to do this too much, but we do have kind of, again, a pop-up to say, hey, if you're in immediate danger or you need others' help, here's who you can call. So this is what we call our legal topic. So they've now answered all the questions. And the first thing that they're going to get is a list of self-help resources. And so fact sheet about child custody, do-it-yourself form. We generally link to court forms. One thing we try not to do is link to specific court forms, only because we don't always know. There's a lot of court forms, especially in custody, and those short questions don't necessarily tell us exactly the right form somebody needs. And so to avoid sending anyone in the wrong direction, we generally are going to direct them to custody forms. But so maybe the person will read this fact sheet about child custody. Perhaps that will answer their question. But if they're really here because they're like, you know, what I really want to do is get a lawyer, then they can click this Get Help. I should note, very soon we'll have the ability for somebody to email or text this page to themselves. That is currently on our development site, and we're just waiting for it to get pushed over to this side. So we will have that capacity probably in the next month. So if somebody says they want to get legal help, what's going to happen is they're going to have to answer a few questions about their personal situation. Because we're focused on the free and low-cost legal services in Minnesota, we're going to ask people about their income to figure out which, do they qualify for free help? If they don't, they're still going to get resources, but that's why we have this question up here. And so I'm just going to estimate how much I'm making. We ask for age because some legal services are available to people, to seniors, for example, that may not be available to other folks. So let me see here. I'm just going to go ahead and live in Hennepin County. And then again, we have just a couple questions that make people eligible for specific legal services. And then this page is to help sort of order or sort the results that someone's going to get. Some of the results that we have include mediation. They include lawyer referral. They include court self-help centers and law libraries. And so these questions are just designed to help order the resources so that if somebody, mediation might be the best fit, that depending on their answers to these questions, mediation would come up higher in their results so they don't have to sift through like a page of results. And so I might say, I think the other side and I could resolve, or I have been to court before. If someone says they're fearful of the other person, that potentially makes lawyer representation come up higher. And they can click as many of these as they want or none. So you can select any or none, and then it we'll pause for a moment, and then we get a list of legal services that will apply for somebody living in Hennepin County who needs help with a child custody matter, who wants to change custody, and who there may be abuse in that relationship. And so you'll see that these results show the name of the organization. It's going to say we do include information about income limits. Most organizations that provide free help do have income restrictions. And so we don't know that most, necessarily all clients are going to understand income limits, but we know that a lot of other service providers are familiar with sort of what 150 or 200% of the poverty guidelines are. We do have them linked here if somebody wants to go look. It'll tell you what the type of legal services. So like a clinic is a brief service or a brief advice. Legal service is going to be a lawyer. A referral service is going to be where you contact a hotline like the Ramsey County Bar Association attorney referral service, and they will help connect the person with a lawyer, but there will be a cost for that. And so we try to just kind of generally label these so that if people know, for instance, I really want to find a lawyer, they may not want, for example, to go visit a self-help clinic. So I'll just come back up and show you what's included in these listings about different types of legal service. So it's going to have a short description of the types of, what they do. It's going to tell you how application process is going to give information about how to get services from these folks. So you need to either call the intake number or use the online application, or you can go apply in person. Generally, the preferred method, I think, is to make a phone call for most of the organizations, but this will tell you, and for example, for the Legal Access Point Clinic, they're going to say this is a first come, first served basis clinic. You can sign up for consultation starting at 8 a.m. This is about how much time you'll have to spend and meet with the lawyer. And this is going to give you an idea on a really busy day that you may have to wait. The way that this site is set up is that the people who are writing and providing this information are the service providers themselves. So like the Volunteer Lawyers Network, somebody at their office is responsible for updating and providing this description. So our hope is that if something changes about how their clinic runs, they're going to include that information instead of us calling them and doing that. So it will also include contact and hours. So again, for this, which is a first come, first serve walk-in legal clinic, it's going to say, here's where it's located in Minneapolis. It's located, that's the government center address. It's at the self-help center, which is on the second floor. And then the schedule is going to tell you which days of the week and which hours they're there. Whereas for this office, Mid-Minnesota Legal Aid, you'll see the intake number, you'll see their website, and just generally, these are their office hours for intake. So hopefully this is the information that people need in order to contact these various legal options. And this list that they've gotten is sort of going to be everybody who's going to provide free services from an agency standpoint, or attorney referral services where they can contact. And so you'll see that these have no income limits. And so part of what we've done is if somebody submits an income that matches, basically they're going to see every single service possible for whatever their level is and up. So if somebody is below 125% of the poverty guidelines, they're going to see the widest range of options. If somebody enters an income that is above 400% of the poverty guidelines, they're really only going to get referrals that have no income limits. But the idea is hopefully that everybody who goes through is at least getting connected with some option that they can call and follow up on for legal assistance. And they can take a look and see which of these is the best fit for me. You know, okay, they'll give free legal advice. Their hours are Wednesdays. Wednesdays don't work for me. I'll skip that one, or something like that. So because this was Hennepin County and Family Law, there's going to be a lot of options, which is great. And they can scroll on down, and this will also have a print, the ability to print this whole page or email it or text it pretty soon. I think we're rolling that out within the next 2 weeks. So that's how the guide works. And then can always start again and pick a new topic. And I'll just show you a couple of the two other main sections of our website. If somebody's just coming to get information, they don't necessarily want to find a lawyer right now, they're just interested in learning more. These are kind of the main topics that we have information about. So if I go under money, debt, and taxes, maybe somebody's received a notice from a debt collector. If they go under debt collection, they'll see a variety of different options. This is kind of a big category, but they may want to know what are my debt collection rights? These are what we call our fact sheets. They're written they're reviewed and revised every year by our legal aid attorneys to reflect any changes in the law. And then they're primarily authored by, we have someone in our office who's a plain language expert. So everything's written with the goal of being around a 5th or 6th grade reading level, so that we are not trying to write in legalese. We're trying to make concepts understandable for people. We will be rolling out some video components in the next few months. So, and these are just going to explain, sort of what you can do, how does debt collection work, what are your rights, and how do you make complaints. And then we also have, if somebody wants to download or print all of our materials, if it's something that you think is helpful and you want to hand out to clients or to other folks that you're working with, feel free to just download our PDFs and print out as many as you want. We also do have, for any fact sheet that is available in a different language, you'll see it here. I'll just flip over to Spanish quick, and then the PDF version is there. And then our site navigation is also available in Spanish, Hmong, and Somali. We don't have as much content in Hmong and Somali, and so up in this upper left-hand corner at the very top by the blue bar, when something is available in multiple languages, the language will be available up here. Like for French, we only have the PDF available, and so that's what comes up. The whole site is not available in French. So let me just show you how our providers and clinics database works, and then I can show you other things or just answer questions that people might have too about legal services and resources. So this at the very bottom of our homepage, so this is homepage, scroll all the way down, we have what's called the providers and clinics. And this is the same information that exists at the end of that law help guide. It's drawing on the same database, it's just in a slightly different format. Our sort of goal is that people who are looking for legal help who aren't sure, they would go through the guide and answer the questions and provide the income information, because in most cases that's going to give you the best referral. But we also know that people in law libraries, people who are service providers, may know better what they're looking for, or they may have an idea that they're looking for information about a specific organization or a specific clinic. And so this is just another way to go in and search the same information. Or if you just don't want to go through the questions and you know that you're looking for custody help in Aitkin County, and then you can just type in those requirements and hit search. And then you'll get the top that'll show you how many results there are. And these are not necessarily going to be, they'll be nominally sorted, but they won't necessarily be organized based on needs. Whereas on the other side, if you enter, you know, I am interested in mediation, it'll sort that first. And so, for example, the Tubman Family Law Self-Represented Legal Clinic, they provide service statewide, which means that they're also going to serve Aitkin County. And so this is just, again, another way to search and get at the same information. And let me just briefly, if I hit reset here, if you know that you have, in the past, you've maybe worked with Homeline, and you want to send somebody who has a landlord-tenant question to Homeline, and you're just looking to make sure what are their hours or what is their contact information, you can just pull them up in the organizations list, and here we go. I've got their phone number, I've got their website, I can double check, okay, people just call the tenant hotline or email, and then the contact information will be over there. So that's kind of the big overview of the site. So I guess I'm happy to take questions for people or show you some of the other resources, but I want to stop talking briefly, I guess, so that we can do that.
Great. Do we have some questions from those on the meeting at this point?
Before you stop sharing, Emily, I saw that there was a quick exit option at the top of the screen, and is that on every screen? And can you show us what that does? I think that's such a helpful feature.
Yep, you bet. It's up at the top here. There's going to be this quick exit in the dark blue bar at the top. And if somebody hits quick exit, they are going to get the weather.
Nice.
Weather's pretty neutral, so.
So if somebody's searching from an unsafe location and needs to get out quickly, that's something that's really helpful for people who are in domestic violence situations.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we did, so we looked at a lot of places do have pop-ups warnings, but it's interesting because when we had a pop-up warning, our site covers such a range of topics that a lot of other users were like, why should I be concerned about internet safety? And we found that like sort of there's this balance. And so that was really interesting to us.
Great. I think you might have said it, or maybe I missed it, on kind of what things you can search for is kind of an advocate. That's something often that our clients want. You know, maybe it's related to custody, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's about discrimination. You know, somebody who can kind of help talk them through what's possible. Was that one of the options on that front list?
So our providers and clinics are really going to be focused on legal or legal related services. And so what you're going to come up with here, like Homeline tenant advocacy, is going to be legal advice related to tenant issues. It may not always be a lawyer. And there's like the, I'm just trying to see here, the state law library will help people do legal research. They can't give people legal advice. But generally, our resources are all going to be legal representation as opposed to advocacy. Now we do, in a number of places in our self-help library, we have links to 211 because 211 in a lot of cases is where we encourage, and also because their database is amazing. And so we decided we are not trying to duplicate their database of services. And so any place where that may come up, we're kind of going to bounce people over there.
Great.
I should mention two other things that come up through our library when people are searching by topic. But we have a number of do-it-yourself forms and letters that in a lot of cases may be all people need to resolve whatever their issue is. And so those are all found in the footer down here. There's a link that says forms. Again, there's other ways people can get to it, but if someone knows, yeah, I once found this really helpful thing there. If you click on forms, this is the link of, these are all guided interviews that we have. So one of the most popular ones that we see is a healthcare directive or power of attorney and revocation of a power of attorney. And these will take people to a site. These are just sort of what you need to know before you get started. What you'll find out. And then it's actually, at the moment, it's hosted, there's a program called A2J, Access to Justice, that then once they start the interview, the little person walks them through and gathers the information. And then at the end of that process, it prints out a completed healthcare directive that just needs to be signed and notarized.
Thanks. If others have questions, you can either unmute yourself and ask, or you could type it in the chat and I will read it to Emily if you have other questions.
And I will just let you know too that I mentioned we do sort of have these fact sheets that are legal information on, I think we have 160 of them or so. And so we have them on this page where you can, if you just want to look at like a total list of every topic we have, housing I think has the most with 30 or so. But so if you're talking to someone who has a housing problem and you're trying to find information, this could be just another way to look and see reasonable accommodations, bed bugs, getting a landlord to make repairs is super popular. So that will, this will kind of give you everything that is our content, everything that we publish.
Nice.
Really wonderful.
Yeah.
I wondered, you gave the example of Hennepin County, but how rich are the resources in greater Minnesota?
It really depends on the topic, I will say. So there is a legal aid office that covers every single county in Minnesota. We have Legal Aid Services of Northeast Minnesota, or LASNEM. So Legal Aid of Northeast, Legal Aid of Northwest, Southern Minnesota Regional Legal Services, Central Minnesota Regional Legal Services, and Mid-Minnesota Legal Aid. And so between all of those organizations, there is some civil legal aid available in every county. But for sure, in terms of sort of drop-in legal clinics, those are going to be much richer in the metro. And then sort of topic-specific legal services. So immigration, for example, there are a couple of organizations. The Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota provides statewide services on a number of areas. They have offices actually in Worthington and in either Austin or Albert Lea. I think it's Austin. And then the Advocates for Human Rights, which does asylum and human trafficking work, serves statewide. They're based out of Minneapolis, but they primarily work with volunteer lawyers, and they work hard to try to have lawyers available to people all over Minnesota. So for sure, if you're looking for help with something in, Lake of the Woods, there are not going to be as many options available. That said, a number of statewide, like the Volunteer Lawyers Network, their bankruptcy service is a statewide service. And so we try to list on these listings, we do show people who are, if it is statewide or if it's restricted by county, just so that when someone's looking at that list, they know. The other thing I should, that gets a little wonky, but is if somebody is living in one county and they have a case in a different county, so they're currently living in Clay County, but their custody case and the other parent are located in, down in Faribault. The programs, they can call the county where they live, or they could call the county where that is, and the legal services program should be able to match up. They have policies about internal policies that I don't even fully know, but the intake workers there will sort of figure out, okay, we generally take the case, or however that works.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Natalie or Angelina or Deb or Mary?
You'll need to unmute yourself if you want to ask a question, or you can type it in the chat. Your unmute is in the bottom left of your screen, probably. Or you can wave your hand and I can unmute you.
And I will just add, while we're seeing if people have any other questions, that our site, it may not be up right now, but we do have a live chat function, and actually I think it's not up at the moment because the person who's normally on is out of the office. But we do have live chat. We aren't able to give legal advice through our live chat function. Generally it's there, but we definitely can help people find information or help direct them to a referral, or potentially, say, here's what you need to read, here's where you need to start. It's usually staffed either by somebody from our office, there's 5 of us here in this office, or law librarians from the state law library staff it. So that is another option. And yeah, I'm realizing it's not showing at the moment because my coworker is in California on vacation.
She can't live chat with us from there.
She cannot. And normally one of us would be covering it, but we're otherwise occupied.
That's great, though. Yeah, any even comments, too, about how your clients might use this, or people that you work with might use this? I'm thinking of the residents in our substance use treatment center. Often they have a lot of questions about their custody battles often, or getting started with knowing their rights around custody, or immigration is another one that we hear quite a lot about, questions around immigration status and how that interplays with child protection usually. So those are great resources, I think. Termination of parental rights, I see too. That's another one that we see quite a lot.
Termination of parental rights is our 4th most searched for and accessed page on our website, with number 1 being rights and responsibilities of unmarried parents.
Okay. Great. Natalie wrote, no questions, but thank you, Emily, and thank you, Echo, for this information. Definitely will be sending people your way for custody cases.
Great.
She's in the courts. Yeah, so that's a great resource. Yeah.
And I should note too, part of why we redesigned and updated our website was the platform we were on before was great, but we didn't have as much control or ability to make dynamic changes, or to really shift the way we could be responsive to users. And we have that now, which is great for us. And so if you are using it, either from your standpoint or from your client's standpoint, and there is something that you would be helpful or that you'd like to see or that isn't working for you. We love to get that feedback. It is part of the fun thing about having a website you can actually edit, is being able to go in and make those changes. And so one way to do it is to use our contact form just for sort of generic issues. And this is going to be more sort of like if you notice a link that's broken, or if you think there's a resource or an organization that we should add. For broader, more general things, I think I am happy to circulate my email here. I can add that in the chat, and you're welcome to just email me directly.
Wonderful. Thank you. One more call for questions or comments, either with.
Can I say thank you for this? Because this website looks a lot easier to navigate than it was before. Yeah, a lot easier to navigate to work with my clients with. So thank you for this.
Good, thanks. That's great to hear.
Yes, someone else added too. Yes, so much more user-friendly. So good, some people who knew about the resource, which is great. And I didn't know about the resource, and it does look easy to navigate either yourself or with a client. So that's helpful.
Yeah. And I should add, it is all mobile. Our design is really mobile first. Even though it looks beautiful on my giant desktop screen, it scales and is designed to be easy to use on a tablet or a mobile phone.
Wonderful. Well, I am going to kind of wrap us up here. And one of the things I want to make sure is that we have your email. Did we get everyone's attendance?
So, yeah.
And we will email an evaluation form to you. And at the bottom of that form, there's a box to check, and we'll send you an attendance certificate. We are approved from the boards of social work, marriage and family therapy, and behavioral health for 1 hour of continuing education. We invite you to share this information with colleagues. A recording of, almost all of our ECHO sessions is available on the Wayside website under Professional tab, and then ECHO. So if you missed something or you think this might be helpful to someone else, within a week or so, it should be up on our website for anyone else to use and get the information. You can also invite them to join us in the future on first and third Thursdays. And again, we're all learning so much by participating. And finally, if you have a topic that you would like to hear about, or a presenter that you think would be specifically helpful to people working in this field in Minnesota, please send us an email and we'll do the legwork. We're happy to reach out, either to work with you to present or to find that person or topic that you would like to hear about. And I think in the future, we're looking, like I said, in June toward some co-occurring disorder topics in the area of post-traumatic stress disorder and anxiety. And
Say what the next one is on Thursday.
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. Thursday the 16th, we're doing another kind of legal thing, and it's a housing guide for applicants with criminal records. And we all talk about how difficult housing options are for the people we serve. And I think that this is one that we should really get a lot of people into the session on, because I know it's going to be very valuable.
Yeah, and Emily put her email address there in the chat box, egood@mnlegalservices.org, and we will send it out with the evaluations too, so you'll be able to reach Emily if you have more questions.
All right. Thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you in a couple weeks, we hope.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. That was great.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you all.